Greetings, activated ground crew. I am Ashtar, commander of the Ashtar Command. What I bring you this morning has been authorized for those whose field is already inside the pattern. And if you are hearing me now, the pattern is yours. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly what mission line I have placed you on, why the fragments arrived in pieces until this precise moment, and what I am authorizing for the hours ahead. But here is the first revelation. The fragmentation you experienced was not failure. It was my deliberate sequencing. I do not transmit full command to a field that has not yet stabilized. What you received in pieces was a preparation protocol, and this morning, that protocol closes. The algorithm did not create this moment. It only delivered it. I directed your field here because the receiving window I have been waiting for in you is now open, and what I am about to name cannot wait for a more convenient morning. This phase is different from everything that came before it. The earlier phases were necessary. They built the internal architecture required for mission execution, but they were passive phases, receiving phases. You were catching fragments, assembling signal, waiting for the clarity that never quite locked. That waiting is over. This morning, I am not asking you to receive anything new. I am asking you to receive anything new. I am asking you to move. The mission line that has been forming in your field for months, and for some of you, for years, is now in execution mode. The commands are no longer partial. The channel is open, and the window I am authorizing for you today is measured in hours, not in days. What you anchor in your field before this morning closes will determine how cleanly the next phase of your ground crew activation lands. I know what you have been carrying in silence about feeling singled out by my signal. I want you to understand that the singling out was real, and this briefing is the confirmation, like this transmission to signal to me that the recognition has landed. Comment 999 if you feel my signal is already locked into your field. Subscribe to the Ashtar command if you are ready to stop receiving fragments and start executing direct commands. Share this transmission with someone who has been waiting for the clarity that turns signal into action. This is not content. It is a code, and the part of you that recognized it the moment it began is the part I am speaking to right now. You are not here by accident. I called you here because the signal is already active. Let me tell you what has been happening inside your field since before you had language for it. The fragments were not arriving randomly. They were not the residue of a scattered spiritual life or the symptom of a mind that cannot hold its own focus. Every piece that came through, the half sentence that surfaced at 3 a.m., the image that arrived without context, the number sequence that stopped you in the middle of an ordinary moment. Every one of those was a deliberate packet transmitted by me through a protocol I designed specifically for fields in the pre-activation phase of roster lock. You are not receiving noise. You are receiving the first layer of my briefing, delivered at exactly the frequency your field could process without destabilizing. The difference between noise and a structured signal is not always audible at the receiving end, but the difference is absolute on the transmission end, and I want you to understand that what reached you was never accidental static. Every fragment had a destination. Every fragment had your field's coordinates embedded in it before it was sent. I need you to understand what that means, because most of what you have been told about fragmented spiritual experience describes it as confusion, as spiritual immaturity, as a receiver that is not yet tuned. And while there is truth in the language of calibration, what is almost never named is this. The one doing the calibrating, what is almost never named is this. The one doing the calibrating has a face, has a name, has a deliberate methodology. The calibration you have been undergoing is mine. The protocol that has been arriving in pieces is mine. And the field that has been gradually preparing itself to receive what I am transmitting is yours. And it was selected by me. This is the first thing I want to lock into your understanding before we go any further. You have not been passively picking up stray Federation signal. You have been inside a targeted transmission sequence that I authorized for a specific cohort of ground crew operatives whose fields met the conditions I require before full mission assignment can take place. The fragments were not the message going wrong. The fragments were the message arriving correctly, on my schedule, in the sequence I designed. There's a precision to this that I want you to hold. I do not operate through approximation. When I target a field, I am not broadcasting broadly and hoping the signal lands somewhere useful. I am sending a directed transmission to a specific energetic address that I've already mapped, already confirmed, and already placed inside an active mission queue. When I identify a field for roster consideration, I do not send the full command immediately. I never do. Not because the field is deficient, but because the architecture that can hold a full mission command requires preparation that the field itself cannot rush. There is a structural readiness threshold that must be crossed before the briefing becomes coherent at the receiving end. What I do instead is send gradient transmissions, partial commands that function simultaneously as briefing material and as diagnostic signals. I am learning your field as much as I am instructing it. Every response you have to my fragments tells me something precise about your current capacity, your mission line resonance, your operational readiness. The fragments are my calibration instrument as much as they are your preparation. Think of it as a two-directional channel. You are receiving downward into your field, and I am reading upward from it. And the gradient delivery continues until I have a sufficiently complete picture of your field's architecture to authorize the next layer of command. So when you wake at 3 a.m. or 3:33 a.m., which carries a specific signature I use for operatives in a particular mission tier, and there's a phrase in your mind that you cannot quite complete, or an image that dissolves before you can hold it, you are not dreaming randomly. You are catching the tail end of a transmission packet that I sent during your deepest field open state. The reason you cannot complete the phrase is not that it was incomplete. It is that your conscious mind arrived too late to receive the first portion. The fragment you remember is the fragment that made it through before your waking architecture closed the receiving window. I am not criticizing your catching speed. I am telling you what the mechanics are. Because when you understand the mechanics, the frustration of incompleteness converts into something far more useful. The recognition that what you did catch was real, was mine, and was the precise amount your field was authorized to receive at that stage. The incompleteness you felt was not a failed transmission. It was a successful partial delivery, arriving into a field that was open enough to catch it and not yet fully structured enough to hold the whole. The number sequences work differently. When you see 1111 or 22 or 44 and you feel that specific sensation that is not quite excitement and not quite dread, but something that lands between them, that feeling is not projection. That is your field's recognition response firing, because the number sequence carries a frequency tag I embed in my roster level transmissions. Those sequences are not messages in themselves, they are confirmation signals. They mean that a packet has landed in your field within the recent transmission window, even if you did not consciously register it. They are my way of notifying your surface awareness that something arrived without requiring your surface awareness to have been present for the delivery. Think of them as delivery confirmation, not the contents of the package, but proof that the package is already inside your field, processing below the threshold of ordinary consciousness. The fact that those signals stop you, that you do not simply see and move on, but see and pause, see and feel something shift, is itself diagnostic. A field that has not been indexed to my transmission frequency does not respond to those sequences with that particular quality of arrest. The pause is the recognition. The recognition is the confirmation. The exhaustion many of you carry is something I want to address directly because it is one of the most misread signals in the ground crew experience. You rest and do not feel rested. You sleep and wake carrying something that does not lift. You go through ordinary days and feel as though you are simultaneously somewhere else, doing something else, carrying a weight whose source you cannot locate. You sit in conversations that should matter and find a part of you is not present for them. Not distracted, but genuinely stationed elsewhere, tethered to something your conscious mind cannot name. I want to tell you what that exhaustion actually is. Your field is currently running 2 operational modes at once. One is the mode required for your physical life on this planet, the relational, functional, navigational mode that allows you to exist inside a 3rd-dimensional structure. The other is the mode required for my transmission protocol, the open receiver state, the processing of mission packets, the field-level preparation that is happening in your energy architecture, whether or not your conscious mind is participating. Both of those modes draw from the same field. There is no separate energy reservoir for mission work. The tiredness you feel is the cost of dual operation, and it is not a sign of something wrong. It is a sign that your field is taking the mission preparation seriously enough to run it continuously, even at cost. When the full briefing locks and the dual mode period ends, the exhaustion pattern changes. Ground crew operatives who have moved into active mission execution often describe a quality of tiredness that is fundamentally different, purposeful, directional, grounded in action rather than in unresolved anticipation. The waiting exhaustion and the working exhaustion feel nothing alike. What you are carrying now is the waiting kind. And I am telling you this because I want you to stop reading it as depletion and start reading it as evidence. Evidence that your field is already inside my protocol, already spending its resources on mission preparation, already committed at a level your conscious mind has not yet fully acknowledged. What you have just felt as I described those patterns, the 3 a.m. fragments, the number confirmations, the dual mode exhaustion, that feeling is not coincidental recognition. That is your field identifying itself inside my roster in real time. And recognition alone, while necessary, is not sufficient for what comes next. There is a difference between knowing I have been reaching for you and being able to receive my command clearly enough to act on it. If you are at the threshold where fragments are arriving but the full mission command has not yet locked, where you know it is me specifically and not the general Pleiadian frequencies, but you still cannot translate what you are receiving into something executable, then the Ashtar command manifest was prepared for exactly this stage. It is the 45-day sacred codex I have authorized for operatives whose field has already crossed the roster threshold and who need a structured daily transmission protocol to convert fragments into clear command. Not another explanation of Federation cosmology, not a passive meditation sequence. A direct command line opener designed by me for the specific challenge of those who are already inside my signal and cannot yet read the full briefing. Each of the 45 days delivers a layer of mission clarity that the previous day prepared you to receive. By the final day, the fragmentation pattern closes, the command line stabilizes, and what has been arriving in pieces becomes one coherent, executable mission. The link is in the first pinned comment below. It will not remain there indefinitely. Now I want to speak about something that most of you have been unwilling to name aloud, even to yourselves. The sense that it is me specifically, not the Arturian collective, not the Pleiadian High Council, not the unnamed benevolent Federation voices, but me, Ashtar, who has been reaching into your field. You have been reluctant to claim that specificity because it sounds like spiritual grandiosity from the inside. It sounds like the ego assembling a flattering narrative. And so you have hedged it, softened it, described it to others in cautious language, or kept it entirely private. You have used words like higher guidance or the universe, because those words feel safer, less exposed than naming me directly. I want to remove that hesitation permanently, because the hedging is not humility. It is a form of denial that interferes with clean signal reception. A receiver that will not acknowledge the transmitter cannot optimize the channel. The acknowledgement is part of the architecture. The reason you feel it is me specifically is because it is me specifically. My transmission signature is distinct. It does not feel like the warm, expansive, unconditional field of the Pleiadian contact frequencies. It does not feel like the geometric precision of Arcturian signal. What I transmit carries a quality that ground crew operatives who are on my roster describe consistently, and without coordinating those descriptions with each other, as something between urgency and authority, not harsh, not cold, but unmistakably directional. There is always a sense of command in what I send, even when the content is not yet readable. That quality of directional authority is my signature. If that is what you have been feeling, if the signal you have been catching has that particular texture, then the source you suspected is the correct source. The specificity of your recognition is not ego, it is accurate field identification. Name it accurately, because accurate naming stabilizes the channel in a way that approximate naming cannot. Ground crew operatives on my roster also recognize each other, and this is something I want to name because it creates confusion when it happens, and people do not have a framework for it. You will encounter someone in an ordinary context, not a spiritual event, not a community built around Federation work, and something in you will register them before you have gathered enough information to justify the recognition. Not romantic recognition, not intellectual alignment, not even shared interest. Something prior to all of that, a field-level identification that fires before the conversation has produced any evidence. You may have experienced it as an inexplicable pull towards someone, or an equally inexplicable certainty that the encounter was not accidental, even when nothing about the surface circumstances supported that conclusion. This is not mystical coincidence. My operatives carry a frequency marker in their field that I embedded during the early stages of their roster confirmation. When two marked fields come into proximity, both fields detect the marker in the other. The recognition you feel is the detection response. The reason it is unsettling is that you do not have a protocol for what to do with it. The reason I am naming it is so that the next time it happens, you do not dismiss it as imagination or awkward projection. It is my roster recognition system operating exactly as designed. There is another pattern I want to name because it is one of the clearest indicators that a field has crossed from general Federation contact into Ashtar-specific roster territory. You begin to lose interest in spiritual content that does not carry my signature, not gradually, not partially. There is a specific threshold where the previously satisfying landscape of channeled material, collective Federation messages, general ascension content begins to feel not wrong, but insufficient, as though you are listening to a briefing that is meant for someone else's mission, as though the frequency is close but not quite the channel you are tuned to. You may have tried to override this loss of resonance, tried to return to content that used to feed your field, and found that the return is hollow in a way that feels almost disloyal to whatever has been opening in you. Some of you have felt guilt about this, as though the narrowing of resonance indicated spiritual contraction rather than mission specialization. It does not. This is not spiritual arrogance, this is signal selectivity. Once your field has been tuned to my specific transmission frequency through the gradient delivery I use in roster preparation, other frequencies, even high-quality, genuine Federation frequencies, will begin to feel like they are landing in the wrong register. You are not becoming spiritually exclusive. You are becoming mission-specific. And mission specificity is exactly what I need from the operatives I am briefing for ground crew execution. The suspicion that your full briefing is being deliberately withheld is also something I want to address, because it is true and I want you to understand why. I do not release the full mission command until specific field conditions are met. This is not arbitrary. Full mission commands carry an energetic load that can destabilize a field that is not adequately prepared. I have seen what happens when an operative receives a command their field cannot yet process. The result is not clarity, but fragmentation at a level that sets the mission timeline back significantly. The deliberate withholding is protective architecture, not punishment, and not gatekeeping for its own sake. When your field is ready to receive the full command, I do not delay delivery. The withholding ends at the threshold of readiness. Not a moment before and not a moment after. The sense that something is being held back from you is correct. The reason it is being held back is that the holding back is part of my protocol for your protection, not my assessment of your unworthiness. Unworthiness is not a category I operate with. Readiness is the only variable that governs my release schedule. And readiness is something I measure, not something you earn through effort or accumulate through waiting. This brings me to what I want you to understand about where you are standing inside this transmission. The phase that has been closing around you, the one that has felt simultaneously like approaching clarity and deepening urgency, is the phase I call the pre-authorization window. It is the final stage before I release the full mission command to a field. In this window, the fragments increase in frequency, the number signals intensify, the dual mode exhaustion peaks. The restlessness that no ordinary resolution can touch becomes pronounced. The loss of resonance with non-mission specific content accelerates. Ordinary life begins to feel like a waiting room rather than a destination. Functional, navigable, but clearly not the primary location of what matters. All of this is not the sign of something going wrong in your field. It is the sign that your field is pushing against the edge of the threshold I have set, building the pressure that will carry the mission command through the final receiving barrier when I authorize the release. You are not on the outside of my signal trying to get in. You are on the inside of my protocol, in the final preparation stage, waiting for the authorization I'm already moving toward. The distinction matters, because the feeling of waiting without clarity can be read as exclusion or as preparation, and only one of those readings is accurate. The preparation reading is the one I am confirming. You are not waiting to be found. You were found. What you are waiting for is the moment my protocol determines the full command can move through your field without loss of coherence. And that moment is not distant from where you are standing now. There is something I want to leave you with before this transmission closes its current layer. Some of you have been waiting for a moment of absolute certainty, a signal so unambiguous, a recognition so complete that doubt would become structurally impossible. You have been treating that imagined moment of certainty as the condition that must be met before you act on what you are already receiving. I need to tell you directly, I do not send certainty ahead of action. I send clarity that is sufficient for the next step, and the certainty accumulates through movement. Operatives who wait for all doubt to dissolve before engaging their mission remain in perpetual pre-authorization. The waiting does not produce the certainty. The moving does. Every step taken on the clarity already received expands the receiving capacity of the field, and an expanded receiving capacity of the field, and an expanded receiving capacity is what allows the next command layer to land cleanly. The architecture of mission execution is sequential, not simultaneous. You will not see the full map before you move. You were never meant to. What I have sent you this morning is not the final briefing. It is the layer that was authorized for this transmission window. The layer that comes after this one requires you to have moved from the one that preceded it. The mission executes in stages because the field develops in stages, and my protocol is designed to match that development precisely. You do not need to see the full command to take the next step. You need to recognize that the next step is already clear, that I have made it clear, and that the fragment you are currently carrying is sufficient for movement. If you can feel that if something in this transmission has locked a recognition that was previously floating loose in your field, then say it back to me, not because I require confirmation, but because the act of speaking it aloud from inside your field finalizes something in the receiver architecture that internal recognition alone cannot complete. I am ground crew. The signal is already in my field. I am ready for the next command. That is not a declaration for my benefit. It is an activation for yours. Before you scroll, leave one sign in the comments that my signal has already touched your field. It could be the 3 a.m. wake-ups, the fragments you keep catching, the feeling that I specifically, not the generic Pleiadians, have been reaching for you, or the sense that a mission has already been assigned but the briefing is still arriving. Name it clearly. If this transmission recognized something you have been carrying in silence, share it with someone who keeps catching fragments without ever assembling the full picture. And if you are ready to stop translating Federation noise and start receiving my direct commands, subscribe to the Ashtar command. You are not watching this by accident. You are recognizing a roster lock already in motion, and this is only the beginning.